I need a towel. Pass me a towel. Hey. Oh! It's you. I've got a bit of a plumbing issue going on here, but let's not let that get in the way. Let's enjoy Mora, a journey in time. Welcome to devlog number 11. I realise there's a lot of new people that have joined or subscribed on YouTube, joined Discord, joined Twitter. It's really good to see the communities growing. I really appreciate everybody that is following along on this project. But given we do have so many new people along, you might be wondering, well, what is Mora? You might not have looked through the channels or looked through Discord to see the story. So Mora is a story-rich sci-fi adventure puzzle game. It's going to have RPG elements, sandbox mode in there as well, so you can build your own stuff. You can do those kind of things that are quite enjoyable to play over and over again. But the main thing about Mora is the story. What we're trying to do is really bring this story to life, bring the characters to life, and make you feel like you're playing a character, not necessarily in a game. That's the kind of thing I'd like to play, and that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to create for everybody else. Now, I'm not here on this journey on my own. I do have people that are helping out. We've got Be Blessed for that amazing highlight reel that he did just before this part of the video. We've got Matt Luty, who's helping with the story. He's really building this world. His imagination's running wild. Sam Cady, who's helping with sound. And Stephen, who will hopefully be editing this video in a little while. And of course, I can't forget to mention the amazing community. But that's enough of all that. What are we going to look at today? Well, we've been spending quite a lot of time on the UI over the past few weeks, and that hasn't stopped yet. We've still got plenty of work to do. So that's what we're going to be looking at today. We're going to be looking at the UI within the game. This is for saving and loading. We're also looking at the UI from the main menu as well. So let's jump in, let's take a look at the work that's been done over the past couple of weeks. And don't forget, if you're enjoying the content, if you like it, smash that like button. If you're not already subscribed, please feel free to subscribe for more awesome content updates. Let's jump in. So for anyone that's watched any of my previous devlogs, when I talk about design and the way that I go about laying things out, this is very much the standard approach. I just sort of throw things on the page and try and decide what's going to work and what isn't. So we saw something there, wasn't happy with it after I tried it, so I moved on and try and work on something else. So here I'm looking at the 2D, the in-game save and load system, trying to get it fitting in with the rest of the game and the rest of the elements that we have in place within the game already, for instance the inventory. So this is me just laying parts out, trying to fit it in a way that I want it to look, make it look as nice as I possibly can. Now I did try a few different things and I eventually settled on this kind of format that we're heading towards now, with one long bar going along. I quite like the way this looks. I think there's plenty of room on there to get some information for the player, so they can see their saves and their load data and things like that. So at the moment all this is just static text. I'm just trying to, as I say, get the layout done, make sure that the scroll bars are working, make sure that the canvas elements are there. So we can see on our left we're going to have the load game. So what you'll do is you'll click on one of those, it will change the picture on the right hand side to the load picture for that particular level, and then you'll either be able to delete it or you'll be able to click load and actually load into the game at that point. So I've not done any of the coding behind the scenes to get this working yet. The main point of this was to get the UI in place, get something that I was quite pleased to look at, and then we can work out all the coding aspects afterwards. So it's just a little bit more tweaking going on here, and I wanted a bit of a description as well about that level, so you know where you're jumping into. And this, as soon as I posted this screenshot, we saw lots of people laughing at the yada yada yada, so nice to see the community giggling about things like that as well. So as I say, this won't just be loading a game, it will be saving as well. So I did a save button at the top, and there we have the 2D UI. Okay, So there we have the in-game save and load menu. It's not 100% done yet. There's still stuff I need to work on. I need to get all the data dynamic, but at this point I wanted to just make sure that the UI side of things was working. Let's now jump into the main menu and see how the load game took place in that. So this menu will be quite familiar to anybody who's been watching the previous devlogs. So what I was trying to do now is get the load game stuff working inside this world space UI that we've got going on here, the main menu. So I realise that this is more work. It does mean that I'm doing two lots of UI for essentially the same thing to load a game again, but I think it's worth it because I'm really liking how this main menu is turning out, and I want the experience throughout to be the same. Now you can see I'm trying a few different things here, but I found that there just wasn't enough room. What I wanted to achieve, I just couldn't fit in this space. And we see as I'm just trying to grow things here and see, can we make more room? Can we fit stuff in? And then as I start getting the buttons going across, there's just not enough space there. So I quickly moved on and decided, right, this isn't the place to do that. So I started building in a different area, so we could have the load menu in a different section. I thought this might be quite nice. We'll get to see this whole scene from a different perspective as well. We get to see different parts of this scene. So I soon set about putting stuff in place. So obviously needed another hologram pop-up. So I thought, right, I'm going to use the base that I've got on the other one, and I'll put it here. And then I just started fiddling about, basically trying to get it in a way that looked good. And I eventually settled on this, and I really like it actually. I'm quite pleased with how it turned out on that. So we can see we've still got this this nice world space menu, but there's enough space to do things now. Like on the left here, I can grow that section for the load games, and then I can have my little preview on the right hand side, similar to how the in-game load and save menu works. So we can have the load on the left, you click it, and then it'll show you the game preview on the right hand side. So I wanted to achieve a similar thing, but I needed more space to do it because I was doing it in the world space UI. And after a little bit of fiddling, I managed to get everything where I wanted it. I managed to line everything up, and I was quite pleased with how it turned out. And then I moved on to getting the little lights in place underneath so we can have that hologram type effect. And once I'd done that, once I'd settled those in place, I did a load of timeline work. Now we've already seen me do some of that, so I've not brought any of that into this devlog. But we did go through, we got that done, and this is the effect of the transitions in and out of the load game menu. And of course there's always some time to admire the little dancing men inside of this scene. In devlog number 10, we introduced a new segment into the video, and people said they really enjoyed it. They liked the format, they liked the content as well. So welcome to devlog number 11's episode of Couch Time with Allan. And this week I'd like to talk about something that actually came up in a question for the live stream that I did with Pixelsmith Studios. I'll show a link to that at some other point. We've not got the video sorted yet. But there was a question on there about coding. Sort of when did I learn to code, and it branched out into motivation and how to learn. And it got me thinking about how I learned to program. And I answered this in the dev stream, but I think it's a good thing to just talk about a little bit more, because coding is one of those things that it can be quite difficult. You're going over the same bit of code over and over again if there's a problem with it. And it can be a bit boring at times. So what is it that makes people do the things they do with coding? Well, if you've got something that you're passionate about and you're actually enjoying it, then it's worth pursuing. So for me, I had a project that I wanted to start many, many years ago, and that's why I learned to code, because in order to get that project done, I needed to be able to code to do it. And that's where I went. I just learned what I needed to learn. And I think that same thing can be applied to a lot of things in life. We've had somebody on Discord today asking about hardware, and how do you learn about doing things with hardware, with computers. And it's that same thing. If you're interested in something, then pursue it. Just search for the answers for what you want to do. And if you do this for enough things, then to other people you might seem intelligent, but to yourself you just find lots of things fascinating, things that you enjoy doing. So I suppose the takeaway point that I wanted to put across in this segment this week is that if you're interested in something, pursue it, give it a go. Lots of people might tell you no, you can't do it, but you don't know until you try. Don't rely on other people telling you what you can and can't do. Try and see if you can yourself. If you don't enjoy it, move on to the next thing that you do. And there we are, couch time with Allan. And there we are. We've hit the end of another devlog. I'd like to thank everybody that's managed to watch it through to the end, really appreciate it. If you are enjoying the content, as I said before, feel free to like, smash the subscribe button. Feel free to join any of the social channels we've got, especially Discord. We do talk a lot on there, and I post a lot of feedback to the things that are taking place, all the development cycles that are happening. So thanks ever so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.